Hey guys, it's me, Ruowen Huang. I am a author, spirit coach, and a psychic. Today I actually noticed something. I'm going to show you guys. Look at the plant that I always show in front of my camera. I tell you my plant like to be on camera. This is a proof. See? Those two plants have exactly the same water, exactly the same light, and I would say all conditions the same. The only thing that is different is this one got a lot of camera time every day versus this one, right? See? That's an example for you. Anyway, today we're gonna talk about Karmic Creditor. This is a word that's going to be very new for North American, but it's a word that commonly used in Asia. Karmic Creditor, I'm going to give you a quick definition of what we Asians say. Karmic Creditor is basically those people that you have been did wrongdoing to, like you did something bad to, and then now they just come and collect their debt from you. Like, so if you abuse them, they would make sure they will follow you around, make sure you abuse, or if they're born to be a human, they abuse you, basically. So karmic creditor is basically those who you mistreated in previous life or whatever, and then they have the right to collect the debt from you. Well, it's a probably new concept where you guys have never heard of in North America, but it is this word used a lot in Asia. In fact, I would say most of Asians spend tons of money just so they can resolve their karmic creditor. In my beginning stage, believe it or not, I spent tons of time dealing with so-called karmic creditor. Just because, as I say, Asian will spend a lot of time dealing with it. So, in early stage, when I was working with my auntie, who is very religious, she's always bring me client cases like how ask me to solve other people's karmic creditor who is following them, who is making their life miserable or things like that, right? So in Taiwan, we have many ways to do it. We can chant, read chanting, and then reverse back to them to make them feel calm. We can burn paper money. We can go to the temple and pray, or there's a lot of ways to deal with it. So here at the beginning of the stage is because I deal with this so long and pretty much day and night, several cases a day. I got to a point, as you guys might know, the more I know, the more dimension I know, the more spirits I know, and things like that, I start to understand there are things in this karmic creditor that simply doesn't make sense. That is, if you understand what I've been talking about, souls have a nature of evolution. That is, whenever we die, we will going to, no matter how fast or how slow, we will eventually going to that procedure of evolving ourselves to become a spirit and plan our next platform or whatever, so we can have a chance to reborn and evolve again. So when I got to that point, and then I review those karmic creditor, they just don't make sense. I mean, yes, they do look like spirits. They look like spirits like who following people. It almost seems like somebody will have a lot of ghosts following them. And they might even interact and respond to your question and all that. But some things are off to them, and then I can never describe what it is. It's not until I understand soul in a better level, and then I get to pay a little bit more attention. That's when I realize something's missing. That missing is, as I say, conscious as they cannot make decision for themselves, or they simply respond how the person want them to respond or something, or based on whatever data they had before and things like that. And also, through the time, I realized since the soul have evolved, my biggest question is, why are you following this guy? If the issues been happened 200 years ago, sometimes 500 years ago, by then you should be able to evolve already. Why are you still following them? It just doesn't make sense, right? Remember, we talk about soul have a nature or evolution. So it simply doesn't make sense why they are following the specific people around and giving up the opportunity that they can evolve themselves. So, because based on so many questions I have in my head, so I started study them in really, really detail. That's the moment I start to realize they are simply the projection. They are the projection of this person. So what happened is, when I mistreated someone with the intention, bad intention or bad mind or bad thought of that specific someone. Remember, we talked about a database before. Everything that happened, that will be recorded. No matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you did, as small, as big, or whatever. Once you have a thought, you have an action or things like that, it's recorded on your soul's database, right? So that soul's database is actually going to carry forward with you for a really long time. It doesn't matter how long you live, how many lives you reincarnate. So what happened is, when we are in this life, something will trigger, which I hope later on we're talking about. Usually it's something internal more or things like that is triggered. So what happened is, your soul would then remember you have done this to somebody, right? And then it would bring out that memory database and become, if you guys all watch Star Wars, that would make it easier. It's almost like you push a button and then all of a sudden you have a reflection of somebody that actually having a conversation with you, right? That's more what a karmic creditor is. So what happened is, most likely something triggered that's internally in you, and then make you think of certain moment that you did in the previous life. Then you reflect those ghosts. So, they call ghosts, but they follow specifically on you. So that's what is a karmic creditor really is. So they look human-like, but they really doesn't have a conscious being inside them that can make up mind for themselves. So this same being later on helped me to understand there are some ghosts in some hunting house that's also was built or made up by human thought too. That is, they respond the way people want them to respond, but they don't really have a conscious soul. So that's why, one day we talk about it. And I mentioned that earlier before, right? They are ghosts, but not really called ghosts. They are just projection of human thought. So anyway, this karmic creditor is exactly the same thing. And, is based on what your memory remember you have been mistreated someone, and then is something trigger internally to make you feel the same thing, and therefore is projecting your life. So what happened is then that projection or that thought now got brought up, and then you might be putting yourself in a situation that you're feeling life is a little difficult, and you almost be dealing with the same scenario or unfortunate or things like that. So in Taiwan, that's what we believe. Like, in people, if their life is not going smooth, or even if they go home feeling tired, or even, they just being so unlucky, instead of taking responsibility of I'm the cause of this, they tend to blame it on karmic creditors. So what they do is they spend tons of money just so people can get rid of them. What I'm saying is, every reflection, eventually you'll realize that everything that happened in your life really is come to one very basic goal. How can you grow, right? So even you get rid of them, which I believe a lot of people in Asia will have the same mind as I do. Even you get rid of them, you feel like they come back again. Yes, because really the major thing is want you to grow. So even you find out a way to somehow kill them, you don't. What it does is really turn off your projection, and then, if the same thing happen again, it triggered the same thing again, the things that it will happen again, right? you would deal with, and then next second might tell you, well, last time was 200 years ago, karmic creditor, this time is 600 years ago, karmic creditor. But, the thing is, if you never deal with your issue, those karmic creditors will always come back. So, my best bet is to word the issue. And the word the issue itself, for me, is very simple, because if you really know what I know, you will start to realize karmic creditors don't just come in ghost form. They come in human form too. That means those people, in North America, we say those people who will negotiate, like, you guys will come to agreement, come to this life together, so you can work each other's issue together, right? Those people you might be mistreated in the previous life, now you're coming back to this life and mistreating you or something. Well, if anybody ever curious about resolving karmic creditor, my suggestion is really just live a life. Because those people around you, whether you like them or don't like them, in soul level, you must come to agreement to work each other's issue. It may be because I mistreated you, and now I have to come to this point to be mistreated. Not so I get punished for it, but more so, now I understand how it's like to be in the other side. Your soul learned something, and then you also learn a better well-being, or maybe through that event or things like that, you learn to be a stronger person of yourself, and things like that, right? So anyway, I'm really gonna sum it up. If you really try to avoid the karmic creditor here, instead of spending money, more money, and more money, my suggestion is, if you understand one concept, that concept is, I'm the cause of my reality, right? It's a hard concept, especially for people who is dealing with tough time in their life. But if you understand everything I've been talking about, you understand we so come here not without prepare, not so dumb, not just throwing all the tests. We so come here for one purpose. That purpose is to get us to a better place. That purpose is to evolve, right? Now you will understand everybody that come in and out your life, right? They may be your karmic creditor, but they might be there to help you. So every time you put yourself in a difficult situation, right, instead of thinking, oh my God, I got so many karmic creditors following me, I better find some psychic to get rid of them. Well, you can still do that if you want, but but my suggestion is, understand what it is that you try to learn from this difficulty. If you are actually able to put yourself in the position and understand what is this lesson really try to teach me, right? You may not get it right away. You might take a couple try to actually understand, the first one you might say, oh, I had to learn to compromise. Oh, maybe I had to learn. Then you realize, nope, I still feel very upset. Next time you're like, okay, maybe I should learn to, listen. Or maybe eventually you do 15 try, you realize actually my lesson is to be strong for myself. Right? It might take some try, it doesn't matter, but that each time you try, you gain some wisdom for yourself as a soul. And then when you really get a lesson, if you really get a lesson you're supposed to learn, what good news is, you will get rid of that karmic creditor for good. That means they will never come back, right? You can actually, if it's a ghost, they never come back. If it's a human, you will both come to this better place that both of you can learn something. So anyway, I hope I give you guys a little bit idea of what karmic creditor is. I mean, it's a commonly used word in Asia. The truth is, I would say almost 70% of people spend their money just to resolve a karmic creditor. But I'm here to suggest you, resolving karmic creditor doesn't cost you any money. But then again, if you think spending money is easier, go ahead, go crazy. So, but otherwise, I would say to resolve, we have karmic creditor everywhere. That's fine. They are not the cause of your miserable life or making your life difficulty, but they are there so you can learn. You can learn something from it. So, if you want to resolve it, very simple. I'm the cause of my reality. I'm dealing with difficulty right now. What it is in this I'm trying to learn. Go that direction. And if you figure out, the sooner you figure out, the faster you get rid of Karmic Creditor without any cost. So anyway, that is, I hope that topic is lighter, but I hope that answer the question of a lot of people spend a lot of time asking me about Karmic Creditor. As I say, I got a lot of Chinese followers. That's almost the first thing they ask. So here's the answer for you. Want to deal with it? Live your life. Seriously, live your life. It's not an easy way out, but it's worth it. So again, if you guys like what I'm doing, join me live on Periscope, go to my Facebook or subscribe my channel, or you can even go to my website, ruowen.com. And tomorrow is Remembrance Day, so I'm gonna have a day off. So I wish you guys all who live in Canada happy Remembrance Day, and I guess I will see you on Thursday at 10. Bye.